Hey, hey, hey! Here we are, episode 11 of season 10, Rupaul's Drag Race Review! Now, before I crack on, I should apologise. I know this is late. I've been busy being a busy drag queen, up and down the country and all over the world, seeing the sights, singing the songs and kicking the lollies around. So, apologies for the lateness. I hope you enjoy the review. So, last week we waved goodbye to Money Exchange, who can be found flogging sponges all over the world now. The girls come back into the workroom and Miss Cracker says to Cameron, "You sent her home, bitch." Then we get Cameron saying, "I'm pretty devastated that Monet's gone." She doesn't sound devastated. To be honest, she sounds bored. Maybe she's bored of being in the bottom or sending people home. Either way, she sounds bored. Asia, ever the voice of reason, is like, "Well, go home then, bitch." She doesn't say it to her face, obviously. No need to be rude. The mirror gets cleaned with the ever-present sponge. Aquaria is finally happy to be in the top 5. The girls all congratulate Cracker on her win, finally. And Asia is back being real and saying maybe Cracker isn't good enough to compete with the others now. Ooh, hoo, hoo. Shady bitch. Back into the workroom, the girls are talking about their first time in drag. I don't honestly remember my first time in drag because I've done it so much. I did go out as Christina in the Moulin Rouge video when I was about 17. I did not look cute. I thought I looked great. I did not. Rue comes in with Cheyenne Jackson, which gets everybody excited. The mini challenge is to prepare a pancake for Cheyenne to taste. The best wins. Aquaria is freaking out about the different food groups, whereas Eureka is like, "I'll eat all the food groups, nom 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 nom." Though Cheyenne takes a very tentative taste of Asia's panquisha, she is the winner. The real winner, though, is Cheyenne, who gets to take this delicious looking pancake home. Yum yum. The main challenge this week is for the girls to deliver 2 looks. One is their best self and the other is their inner saboteur. The infamous and ever-present advice from Rupaul. We all have those little voices inside telling us we're not good enough, but it does seem particularly prevalent for Rupaul. She seems to see them all the time in other people. The girls all start getting their stuff ready. They're all together and they have to runway 2 looks. With an accompanying voiceover, and we can see that Cracker is cracking under the pressure that she's putting herself under. Eureka opens the floor for people to give critiques. Some would say that that's smart, others would say that's stupid. Everyone is pretty gentle, to be fair, till Asia gets to Cracker, and she says she lacks depth. Ugh, gag. Rue comes in and starts with Asia, who says she feels at home with sadness, like when good stuff happens, the bad stuff is just round the corner, so be ready. Eureka gets a pep talk about types of energy that we use to spur us on to achieve things, and that her doubts over her legitimacy in season 10 are totally unfounded. Rupaul talks about what he thinks about before he steps on stage, about being in his mum's living room. When I'm performing, I just tell myself they want you to be good, they want to have a good time, and nobody's going to die if you're not great, so it doesn't matter. Aquaria is again totally unself-aware and is like, "Ooh, fashion, she's lilac and light blue. Ooh, she's animal print, bitch." Rupaul is like, "Okay, that's the clothes, but what about you? I think your saboteurs are saying you're not good enough to be here, you're a fraud." Aquaria's reaction is like, I'm not entirely sure that she has one. That she's just not self-aware enough to have an inner saboteur. Cracker's is the most difficult, I think. She knows what her issue is, and she's just really not present most of the time. By that I mean when you're a cerebral person like Cracker, you're sort of in your head looking out, and it's a bit like actually you're separated from everything. I get it sometimes before I'm doing like a really big important gig, when the nerves kick in and I kind of disappear into my head. It takes me a while to get back into the room. It's as if you're looking at everyone from a distance. Cameron, like Aquaria, is focused on look rather than content. Cool horns, blah blah blah. Also thinks she's being cultural, saying saboteur as saboteur, like abattoir. She then talks about being shy and that stemming from her childhood. It doesn't feel genuine what she's saying. It definitely feels a bit more game plan. And that's because she says she hasn't had any conflict with anyone. A smart game, if a little dull, because as well as no conflict, there's not really been any real relationships built. If you don't express yourself, you repress yourself. Come on, Madonna. And you know what? Death for a drag queen is being bland. We meet Rupaul. She's a nasty bitch who doesn't know how to behave in a cheap shake and go wig. Back in the workroom, Cracker is cracking up completely now. The pressure she's piled on herself is just too much. Eureka offers some much needed advice. Stop being so hard on yourself. This isn't a challenge about making everything. Work with what you've got, rather than fighting with sewing machines. Next day, back in the workroom, Cameron has managed to bang together a new outfit that looks like a magical fairy creature from She-Ra. Cracker is like, well, I learnt the lip sync because, the girls are smashing their makeup onto their faces, getting ready for the runway, and talking about who their inner saboteur is. Aquaria says she doesn't think she has one. No shit. And that hers is actually Michelle Visage. Asia asks if people feel less confident as a boy after starting drag. And I think that's quite a common thing for most of us who do drag, because you spend so much time either in drag or thinking about that other persona that you kind of lose the boy that's behind it. Also, drink lots of water, kids. Keep hydrated. Cheer when you peer clear. Woohoo! Runway time. Now we see why there was a week in between. It's because Rupaul is again wearing another dress with one side in one colour and one side in another. Although I think if they'd been switched around so that this week's had been last week, it would have been more kind of relevant to what was going on in the show. And also, let's just have a look at the hemming on those cape sleeves. Cameron goes first. She looks lovely, like a superhero though. Her speech doesn't go very far. Her makeup, however, is total transform. Totally different. Eureka's next in her matched checked outfits. Her monologue from Evil Twin is pretty savage. Her brows are radically different. Next up is Cracker. Pink pompadour wig, blue velveteen coat with a leotard. Her inner saboteur is a sort of cave girl. The crown and necklace I think are great, but the makeup doesn't quite match. It's a different lip and a little more black in the eyeshadow, but not really anything else. She's still cracking puns as her evil twin, rather than actually laying herself bare. Aquaria in lilac and light blue, lovely outfit and lovely words. The evil twin is animal print with bloodstained gloves and an apron which are discarded. And she also has this bone mask on. It's a performance, it's been considered. But she crowbars Aja's quote in again. Like, we've heard it a million times from you. Leave that, find something new. The mask is also a little restrictive on her mouth. Asia is last out in a cute two-tone rhinestone swimsuit. The feathers at the back are nice. I'm not so sure on the wig myself. The balloons are a bit of a running theme for Asia, and so it works well, I think. Her evil twin has one balloon deflated, and then a whole string of them that look like they've been burned and scorched. Her costume's all in black, and her makeup is totally altered. Critiques. They weren't loving Cameron, they were loving Eureka. Cracker didn't go far enough. But somehow Aquaria gets showered in praise, even though her dialogue wasn't that strong. Her costuming was, but that's it. Asia gets great feedback because everything was really personal and honest. Michelle even admits to being wrong. Gang! Then the big moment. They all get asked who should go. Cameron plays safe and says Aquaria's her biggest threat, so she should go. Eureka picks Cracker. Cracker picks herself and Cameron, so throws Cameron away. Aquaria says Cameron, and Asia says Cracker isn't a star, and you can clearly see that this crushes Cracker. This week, Aquaria is the winner of the challenge, and Cameron and Cracker are in the bottom. The lip sync, probably more than most, comes down to taste. I loved what Cracker did. I thought it was great. She was funny, and she did Cracker, but RuPaul preferred Cameron's interpretation. So Cameron stays and Cracker is sent home. Even now, she's still completely in control of herself. There's signs of the real Cracker, you know, trying to get out. But it still feels like there's this wall between us and her. And she leaves with Cher, cockroaches, and Cracker. Damn it! Camp. Super, super camp. Thank you so much for watching. See you then. Bye!